right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Forgotten Firsts. This is the video series where I talk about those first appearances of characters you just may not be thinking about or just haven't been paying attention to lately, or maybe you just never knew where this character first appeared or who this character is. So just some randos and some forgotten characters, some bypassed firsts that just stuff you should be aware of, especially when you're out there digging in those boxes. Not always quite dollar bin stuff, so some of this stuff is going to be a few bucks more, but I generally try to keep it in an affordable kind of range as far as how much these books are going for. And then, 20, 30 bucks at most, for the most part. It's just stuff that you still could afford. If you were so inclined and interested in these characters, you still could do so. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as the other stuff I got going on the channel. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss any of the content as it drops. Got at least one thing every day, if not two, going on at this point, and couldn't be having more fun doing it. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. Even got some Rennavision merchandise if you're so interested. Check out my links on the YouTube page to TeePublic and Teespring. I did two because, I did two. So got things from glasses to shirts. It's all basically cheap. I'm not making really any money off of it, so it's all basically up for cost. So have at it if you are so inclined. That said, hang on for 1 second, and I'll be right back to talk about the 3 characters that I want to look at this week. All right, now as I mentioned in the opening, I do have 3 more characters for us to take a look at this week, whose first appearances are, just something you may not be paying attention to. This isn't the hot book of the week. This isn't the, oh my God, new spec from the Loki show or whatever, whatever. This is stuff that just no one's really paying attention to right now, and I just think it's useful information for you guys to have when you're out there digging in those back issue bins. Just characters that, you might be overlooking. Now, before I get to my real first pick, I just need to preface it with this one. This Ghost Rider 28. A lot of speculation has hit this book over the last few months, the last year, basically. You got Midnight Suns action, you got Lilith going on, as well as this also being the first appearance of the original Caretaker. Now, important character, if we're looking at side characters for possible, Marvel MCU stuff. And that's kind of the topic and the theme that I'm going to go on with these picks is not main characters, but just kind of that supporting character. So if we get any of these main characters, like a Ghost Rider in this case, in a Marvel show, a Marvel movie, you're going to need to fill out that movie with supporting characters. And who are some of those supporting characters that we may see adapted in movie, show, whatever they decide to do? And that's kind of the angle I'm playing up here. Just some of those supporting characters that you shouldn't ignore, you shouldn't forget about. But I still felt like we had to mention that first Caretaker because his granddaughter, Sarah, who actually was a nun, first appears in this volume of Ghost Rider in issue number 26. And this is the one I think that we might actually see as more of a modern day adaptation if we get Ghost Rider. Apart from the fact that we already saw the original Caretaker shown once before, it's a newer spin, a newer take, and the way that they can add a female aspect into a property like Ghost Rider here. So again, the character's name is Sarah. She's the granddaughter of the Caretaker. First appears in this issue 26, and she goes on to become that Caretaker after he passes in this run of comics. I believe he passes away in issue 27, and then by issue 28, she's running there saying, "Call me Caretaker." So she basically takes on the moniker in issue 28, but issue 26 is her first appearance, in comics. So definitely something just be mindful of. I just think this is a cheap book. This is a book you still could find in dollar bins. Just so you know. Came out in August of 2008. Print run on this one is about 27,000, so it's not a huge print run, but it's not a minuscule one either. Yeah, it's a solid, mid-tier Marvel book. So I mean, that's kind of where we're at with this one. But that being said, still a book that's not too expensive if you want to go look for one. For your collection or just something to have. I mean, right now, you look, there's $5.75. You can pick one up on eBay. It's not going to break your wallet if you really want this book. And yes, you could go digging in the dollar bins, digging in the cheap bins, but again, $5.75 ain't a huge investment, even with paying the shipping. And this guy takes the best offer as well. So you can always do that. And even if you look at the sale, sale copies, one sold for a best offer on $3.15. Like the ask was only $3.15, and they still accepted a best offer. One's got to imagine it was like $2.50 or $2 or something like that. So once again, cheap book. cheap book to go look into if you're interested in this first appearance of this character that could be a supporting character in like a Ghost Rider property. That's just something that I'm thinking. And for my next pick, this is a character we actually have already seen before, but Microchip, if you will. Punisher number 4 from the ongoing Punisher series. This book still is pretty cheap, and yeah, so you get the first appearance of Microchip. He's basically the Punisher's armor, his Q, his yeah, the guy who gets his stuff, gets him his weapons, gets him his ammo, gets him the things that he needs to be the Punisher and do his Punisher type things. Now, this is an older book, and I don't have print run numbers on this because this came out in November of 1987, but so I don't know what the print could be because we don't have reliable information to go back to this one. And I know Microchip, we've seen him already in the John Berthenol, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, the Netflix series. We saw a version of Microchip there, and that dude was pretty cool. That dude was awesome. He was only in the first season. They didn't bring him back for the second. I've heard rumor that they might bring Berthenol into the MCU as the Punisher, and if they do, I think a smart play, because they're probably going to have to downgrade him a little bit. Like, it's not going to be probably a rated R version of the Punisher, so he's going to probably be not family friendly, but just toned down a bit. So if they were to do that, I think having somebody who could play off of him like a Microchip to be part of a crew to humanize him, to show that he can have a normal relationship with another human being and not just be this killing machine, makes a lot of sense. So that's why I think Microchip still would be in play if we get a Punisher something or other movie, Disney Plus show, whatever. So that's why I'd still be looking for this Punisher number 4, which again, it's still not expensive. Yeah, you could get one for $4.50 or you can get one for $20. Like, that's the range we're talking about here. Still a relatively cheap book, still a relatively cheap first appearance if you were so inclined to look for one. Sale copies, look, one just sold for $6 with free shipping. $6 shipped is basically $1 book when you think about it. Not expensive at all. So again, this is just the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Things you should just be aware of when you're digging in the boxes, because you might come across a Punisher 4 and go, huh, are there any Punisher books that I should be looking for? Here's one, Punisher 4. My next one's going to be a little bit of an odd pick. This one's a little bit of an oddity, but I was thinking ahead, thinking, hey, what are you doing with this Hulk magazine? Well, this Hulk magazine actually has the first appearance of a Moon Knight character. And I was looking ahead to Moon Knight because we know we are getting a Moon Knight show on Disney Plus at some point. So once again, supporting characters, even villains that we might possibly get. And in this book, the Hulk number 17 from 1979, I believe, actually has the first appearance of, well, I think they just call him Rand, but Randall, the brother of Moon Knight, Randall Spector, basically first appears in this book. And I know it's not a comic per se, but it's a magazine and it has this whole story. But, basically this is an evil Moon Knight, Shadow Spector of sorts. Like this is an evil version of the Moon Knight for the most part. It's his brother, and you got the whole, good versus evil, opposites. What Marvel loves to do with their very first villains. If you think back on all the MCU movies, every first villain they all faced was basically just an evil version. Evil version of Ant-Man is, Yellow Jacket. Evil version of Iron Man is Ironmonger. It was just basically evil version of Cap is Red Skull, who was the German super soldier. It was basically a 1-for-1. That's how they all basically started. So maybe we just start with an evil version of Moon Knight for that first Moon Knight. So again, October 1979, this magazine comic issue came out, whatever you want to call it, but no print run number for you, so no idea. And I know this is not an easy thing to find because it's a magazine, but that's why you should look, because a lot of comic shops have a magazine box that nobody looks in. They got some epics in there, they got some weird, maybe some creepies, they got stuff like that. Flip through it, who knows, maybe you'll find one of these Hulks, maybe you'll find some Fooms. Never know what you might find in an LCS magazine box, so always go and look. But that being said, if you wanted to buy this book, again, price ranges vary. $28 or $150. Condition sensitive to be sure. I mean, make sure you look at the pictures and all that, but it is a magazine. These two on the surface, they look very similar for $28 or $150. But you dig in a little deeper, you might get a better quality with that higher price book. But buy what you can afford, buy what's in your means. And we want to look at what's actually sold for this book. This one's sold for about $34.99. So again, it's on the pricier side on what I like to cover here, but this is the magazine from 1979, so it's going to have a little bit of an uptick because it is a little oversized too. So you get a little bit more paper material. It's a little thicker for your buck. So that's what I got for you this week. 3 first appearances, things you should be aware of. Keep an eye out for them. You never know what you might come across, whether it be the new Caretaker, whether it be Microchip, or whether it be Rand Spectre, the Mark Spector's brother, and Evil Moon Knight, basically, if we want to call him that for all intents and purposes for today. I don't know, just fun speculation on some supporting characters, on things we might see down the line. That being said, hopefully you are enjoying the content. Please, again, like, subscribe, hit the alert button, tell a friend. Let's keep that subscriber count growing. I'm getting closer again to my next giveaway. Gave away a book last week, or a few books last week. Looking forward to giving away another set, hopefully, maybe by next week, if we can keep this momentum going. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully you're having fun. I'm having fun doing it, and I will see you next time.